Life is full of tests. Sometimes those tests come when you least expect them, and sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. This is the story of Daniel, a simple man, a hardworking man, a man who loved his family more than anything in this world. Daniel didn't have riches, he didn't have fame, he didn't have status. What he had was love. And for him, that was enough. He worked as a mechanic. Day after day, he stood on his feet, fixing other people's cars. Grease on his hands, sweat on his face, pain in his back, but joy in his heart. Because when the day ended, he came home to his wife, Melissa, and his son, Jordan. That was his treasure. That was his world. Every Friday, no matter how tired he was, Daniel stopped by the store. He picked up Melissa's favorite flowers. He picked up Jordan's favorite candy bar. It wasn't much, but it was what he could afford. And for him, those little gifts were big expressions of love. Daniel was happy, but Melissa, she wasn't. At first, she believed in him. At first, she believed in his dreams. But dreams don't pay bills, and promises don't buy new clothes. As the years went by, Melissa grew tired. She looked around and saw other women her age. She saw them taking vacations. She saw them living in big houses. She saw them wearing designer clothes. And every time she compared her life to theirs, she felt like she deserved more. She began to resent Daniel. She began to resent the small house they lived in. She began to resent the old car he drove. And little by little, she began to resent the man who loved her most. Daniel didn't see it at first. He was too busy working, too busy providing, too busy trying. But Melissa had already made up her mind. At work, she met Richard, a wealthy man, a businessman, the kind of man who oozed confidence, the kind of man who could buy anything he wanted. Richard noticed Melissa, and Melissa noticed him. Where Daniel's hands were rough and scarred, Richard's were soft and polished. Where Daniel wore faded jeans and boots, Richard wore designer suits and shining shoes. Where Daniel smelled of oil and sweat, Richard smelled of expensive cologne and money. Melissa was drawn to him, and Richard, he knew it. He began to spoil her. He took her to fancy restaurants. He bought her expensive jewelry. He gave her the attention she felt Daniel no longer gave. Melissa told herself it was harmless. She told herself she deserved it. She told herself that after all the years of struggle, maybe it was finally her time to shine. But she was slipping further and further away from the man who had given her his everything. One evening, Daniel came home earlier than usual. He had a smile on his face because he had just received a small bonus from work. He thought to himself, Melissa will be so happy, Jordan will be so excited. He stopped by the bakery and picked up Melissa's favorite cake. He went to the toy shop and bought Jordan the toy car he had been dreaming of. His heart was light. He couldn't wait to see their smiles. But when he opened the door, his smile faded. There in the living room sat Melissa, and next to her was Richard. They were laughing. She was wearing a necklace Daniel knew he could never afford. The cake slipped from Daniel's hands. The toy fell to the floor. His heart dropped to his stomach. Melissa looked at him, and there was no shame in her eyes, only annoyance, as if he had interrupted her. Daniel, she said flatly, I can't do this anymore. Daniel's voice trembled. What do you mean, Melissa? I mean, I'm leaving, she said. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of living small. I deserve better, and Richard can give me what you never could. Daniel's chest tightened. His throat burned. Melissa, what about Jordan? He asked. She glanced at their son's room, then looked away. He'll be fine. He has you. And just like that, she stood up. She walked out the door. She didn't look back. She didn't hesitate. She left behind her husband. She left behind her son. She left behind her family. Daniel stood frozen. His heart was shattered. His dreams were broken. But he knew one thing. He still had Jordan, and Jordan still had him. The days ahead were not easy. Daniel became a single father overnight. He had to cook. He had to clean. He had to work long hours, and still come home to help with homework. Money was tighter than ever. Some nights, Daniel went without dinner so that Jordan could eat. Some nights, he stayed awake past midnight, fixing broken toys with tape and glue so his son wouldn't feel poor. But through it all, Daniel never complained. Because every time he looked at Jordan's eyes, he saw hope, he saw love, he saw a reason to keep fighting. Meanwhile, Melissa was living the life she thought she wanted. She was traveling, she was shopping, she was posting pictures online, smiling next to Richard, pretending everything was perfect. But what looks perfect on the outside can be rotten on the inside. At first, Richard treated Melissa like a queen, but soon his true colors showed. He was controlling, he was unfaithful, and he reminded Melissa again and again that everything she had was because of him. When she complained, he laughed in her face. "If you don't like it, go back to your broke husband," he sneered. Melissa realized too late she wasn't loved. She was owned. She was bought and paid for. The gifts stopped coming, the vacations ended, the attention faded, and when Richard grew bored of her, he replaced her with someone younger, someone prettier, someone new. Melissa was discarded, just like that, alone, ashamed, and with nothing. One rainy evening, Daniel heard a knock at the door. He opened it, and there she was, Melissa, standing in the rain, her makeup smeared, her clothes cheap, her face filled with regret. "Daniel," she whispered, "please, let me in." Jordan rushed to the door. "Mommy!" he cried, throwing himself into her arms. Daniel stood frozen. Memories of her betrayal flashed before him. The night she walked away, the nights he struggled alone, the tears he had shed, the pain she had caused. Melissa's voice broke through his thoughts. "I made a mistake. I thought money would make me happy, but I lost everything. I lost you. I lost Jordan. Please forgive me." Tears rolled down her face. Her body shook. Her voice cracked. Daniel stared at her for a long moment. Finally, he said softly, "I forgive you, but things can never be the same." Melissa stayed in Jordan's life, but the trust was gone. The love they once had was broken. She had to watch from a distance as Daniel raised their son with strength and love. She had to live with the regret of choosing money over family. And Daniel, though life was never easy, grew stronger. He and Jordan built a bond that nothing could break. Because sometimes the richest man in the room is not the one with the biggest bank account. It is the one who gives the most love. This story is a reminder. Money can buy you clothes, money can buy you cars. Money can even buy you people, but money can never buy true love. If you have someone who works hard for you, if you have someone who sacrifices for you, if you have someone who loves you even when life is hard, hold on to them, cherish them, because once they are gone, you may never find that kind of love again. In the end, Daniel's story reminds us that true wealth is not measured by money, but by love, loyalty, and sacrifice. It shows that material things fade, but the bond of a pure heart endures, and those who choose love over greed will always be the richest in life.